Welcome, everybody, to the Relentless podcast, where I find guests who are willing to commit to some type of 40-day health challenge. Now, it could be anything. It could be nutrition-related, exercise, cold plunge, hot sauna, or it could be giving up a vice like cigarettes or social media or naughty websites. Here's what happens. So the guest comes on before the challenge to talk about what to expect, and then they come back on after the challenge to talk about their experience, and we can learn from them. So if you're new here, throw us on in the background, hang out, and maybe, just maybe, I can earn my way into your regular podcast rotation. So I like to start the podcast off with a fun game of this or that. Okay. So we did it with Russ, who you know, yep. Top, aka Top Notch, and I feel like it does a good job of like greasing the wheels. So like what I need you to do is just like clear your mind, and I'm going to give you a couple of like this or that type questions. Okay. And you just give me like the superior one of the two things I give you.
My preference.
Your preference.
Yeah.
All right.
I've watched 3 of these now. Like I told you, I've watched Chris, Neil, and Russ.
Oh, Neil, what's up? Chris, what's up? Yeah, you actually came up, I think, on both Chris Roos podcasts.
Yeah.
You guys played soccer together.
Chris can't kick a 50-yard field goal, by the way.
Okay, so a challenge has been laid down. Here,
you guys were talking about me.
Let me get this mic a little closer.
You guys were talking about that field goal challenge that we did. I know we're probably jumping the gun because you wanted me to tell this story, but it was 4 out of 6 from 35 yards.
4 out of 6?
When we went to West Middle School that day?
Yeah.
That's what the deal was, from 35 yards.
Okay. And the controversy was that you weed whacked beforehand.
I originally had agreed to doing it indoors. We were going to somehow on turf.
Okay.
Not so this is the part of the story that gets, lost in translation when, people tell it.
This is the part that
I did not agree to doing it on grass or and this is unkept ground. This is a middle school. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I went the day before with my weed whacker. I felt like such and I found the spot. I measured 35 yards and I made this square and I just cut all the grass down. So it was like nice, and the next day.
Yeah.
I was ready to.
Well, there was no rules. There were no rules that said no weed whacking. So no. I think you're good.
I think I'm good too.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah, no, Chris can't. I mean, he's our age.
Yeah.
I don't think a 50-yarder is possible.
Okay.
I'd be impressed.
All right, Chris Roos, past guest. We're calling you out. We're saying you can't hit a 50-yarder. How many attempts does he get?
He gets 5 attempts.
5 attempts.
For 1 50-yarder.
1 50-yarder. Okay.
I bet you he could do what I did, which is the 35 yards 4 out of 6 times. I actually did it 5 out of 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 50 yards is different.
Yeah. Well, as of the recording, Chris's birthday is right around the corner.
Okay.
So happy early birthday, but by the time this comes out, happy belated birthday to Chris Roos.
How did you meet him, by the way?
Through Emily. He goes to Emily's gym.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I was wondering. I probably didn't. The last time I saw him was 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
More even.
That's funny.
But then I recognized him, and then you said it, and I was like, wow, that's such a small world.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I got a funny story about people recognizing us.
Okay.
But anyways, let's get into this or that.
Sorry.
I'm going to propose. We'll get sidetracked, whatever.
I know.
Welcome, everybody. By the way, this is Dan Gill. We have known each other since we were 5 years old.
5 or 6, yeah.
5 or 6, went to kindergarten together, 37 now, still buds to this day. And when I tell people that like our group of friends, most of us have known each other since kindergarten.
Yep.
And now we're closing in on 40.
Jeez.
Faster than I'd like to admit. People don't believe me when I say that.
Right.
Yeah. So this or that.
Okay.
This is a fun way to grease the wheels. I'm going to give you 2 things. It's going to be this or it's going to be that, and you just give me your preference.
Okay. And
Ready?
I imagine you've thought through these for me.
I've thought through them a little bit.
Okay.
Some of them are a T-ball, but some of them kind of a curveball.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Ready? Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith?
Barry Sanders.
Ali or Tyson?
Ali.
Bad Boys Pistons or 0304 Pistons?
0304 Pistons.
O.J. Simpson or Chris Benoit?
O.J. Simpson.
Really?
I mean,
I didn't know you were such a big OJ fan.
No, you know what? Thinking about what you told me about Chris Benoit.
Yeah, it's a little dark.
Yeah.
50 Cent or Chamillionaire?
Chamillionaire.
Chamillionaire?
Even though 50's the guy that everybody knows about.
Yeah. Dude, I like to say that the whole reason I started this venture on YouTube is to get the word out that more people should listen to Chamillionaire.
Yeah, I mean, he's past his prime at this point, but
I know he hasn't dropped an album in like 15 years. And
yeah, but all those high school and college years of just constantly pushing his music to my friends, and
yes,
gosh,
it
was awesome. It is awesome.
Dude, I know if I had $1 for every Chameleonaire mixtape I made for somebody and burned, I know. You know,
His music isn't on Apple Music though. A lot of it's blocked.
Some of the mixtapes, I think the albums are on there.
Some of them, yeah.
Sound of
mine get like grayed out from my library.
Okay.
As I've imported music over the years, and now I just use Apple Music. I need to get on Spotify though.
Yeah. Yeah, get on Spotify, follow the Relentless podcast. We put bonus content up there most Fridays.
Yeah.
I don't know. Life gets busy, and so a little side note, peel back the curtain. I do an episode of this every Monday, and then I chop it up and I put up a video on YouTube every single day. And then I got the ambitious idea that like I'm going to go even further. I'm going to release like a bonus episode every Friday. Mm-hmm. And I've done 2 in a row. And now I'm like, I don't know how long I can keep this up.
Yeah.
Like full-time work, full-time dad, full-time.
I'm fascinated by how you pull all this off.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. It's a lot. But I have a couple of questions for you. So I think that, how do I want to put this? It came up on an episode a couple of weeks ago. And it's like, if you've ever been on a job interview, a lot of times they do their best to make you like so uncomfortable and like off your game that I had the idea that I think like if they're serious about a candidate, what they should do is send over like a list of options or environments in which to do the interview. So say you are you're big into fishing. Mm-hmm. Let's do the interview on going fishing, or you're into video games. Let's go. Or
put you in your environment versus take you out of it.
Put you in your environment. There's something to that. Or you're a golfer. Let's go to the driving range. I'll ask you some questions while you're in the driving range.
Well, I'm hitting golf balls. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So that and said, you're a big sports guy. So I want to talk sports a little bit before we get into your challenge and stuff. Mm-hmm. So on this channel, we used to build brackets of like best pro wrestler, or right behind it, best comedy movie, or funniest person,
best
whatever.
Goonland moments.
Best Goonland
like
moments.
That tournament I did right when the pandemic started.
That's when it originally started.
I pulled up some of those PowerPoint slides.
Yeah.
We had everyone vote. Like, hey, what's the more funny photo? I seeded everything.
Yes, dude.
I'm hoping that inspired you.
Yeah. In fact, if you're watching on YouTube, send me some of those photos. And like, as we're talking, just as a gag, I'll throw some up.
Yeah, okay.
And if you're watching, you can comment on like, what's the better photo? Maybe we can get that going again.
Yeah.
Maybe we could take
some of it. You need context.
Yeah. The Now I'm Stoned. That one, right?
That was a 1 seed.
Yeah.
It cut down the nets in its region.
Yep.
God, I'll have to go back and look at it. I still have that PowerPoint saved on my work laptop.
Yeah, that's so funny. But back to brackets. I want your 4 number 1 seeds.
Okay.
If you're building a bracket, best athletes.
Best athletes.
Best athletes.
Not necessarily best like athletes that I've cheered for personally.
Right. Like it's easy to go like Barry, Iserman,
yeah.
Isaiah.
I mean, there's LeBron versus Michael.
Yeah.
That whole debate. I don't want to do that debate. But just pure athleticism, LeBron has to be like up there.
Yeah.
Gretzky. Although his goal record is going to get passed by Ovechkin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Here, I think it's soon. I saw on ESPN this morning or the other day.
Interesting.
So I think Gretzky. They used to, say that was never going to be broken. That record.
Yeah. They said the same thing about Ric Flair's 16 title reigns, but John Cena is going to do it at WrestleMania.
Okay.
You going to come over for Mania?
I might.
Yeah.
I might. Yeah.
We need you over here.
I love trolling about the wrestling stuff with you guys.
Yeah.
I'm a big baseball nerd. In fact, I'm doing a fantasy baseball draft today and tomorrow.
Oh, sweet.
Hours upon hours of time just spent researching. Shohei Ohtani.
Okay.
Pitcher and hitter in baseball.
You put him in your top 4?
Like active athletes. Yeah,
yeah,
like the ability to not only hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball that has tailing movement to it, but then also being able to pitch is Babe Ruth was like the guy. Like he's doing that now in this era.
Right.
So that's truly impressive stuff.
And Babe Ruth did it without black people. right?
True.
So
The
Babe
athletes
Ruth
they are much.
can suck a butt.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna get into a evolution argument, but yeah, the athletes are far superior right now. Than,
Well, the blacks got
yes,
his feet.
yeah.
No question.
Shohei's Asian.
Yeah.
But he's incredible.
So do the Asians.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about who else from just. I mean, he's not great anymore, but Tiger Woods, just how far above and beyond he was at his sport. I think he's got to be on your Mount Rushmore of athletes because he dominated in a way that like I don't think we will ever see again, at least in our lifetimes, the way golf is going. So, not that I want to put a golfer in my all-time athletic, but Tiger.
But I think you bring up a good point. Athleticism doesn't necessarily mean like I'm 8% body fat and I can jump higher than. It's like it's such a mindset. It's a mental thing too. And Tiger,
and that's the whole LeBron versus MJ argument. LeBron's a far superior athlete if you just look at measurables and the things that he can do physically. But then you talk about being a competitor, the will to win.
Yeah,
that's where the Jordan folks really lean in on. So
yeah,
that's the Gretzky, LeBron, Tiger. Who else?
You know who came to my mind, and I'm very casual when it comes to sports. Like Bo Jackson excelled, and
I gotta have an NFL player in there.
Yeah,
so it could be Bo. I mean, Calvin Johnson was such a physical freak. Barry was awesome.
Yeah. If you haven't figured out by now, any listener or viewer, we are from Michigan, born and raised in Michigan.
There's people are probably like, oh, this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, those would be some of the names that come to mind, like all-time great athletes.
Now, you guys know that I don't promote anything that I don't actually use. And Gade Nutrition is something that I've been taking long before I ever had a podcast or YouTube channel. Their quercetin, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D3 supplement has been a total game changer for me, and here's why. So I have a 6-year-old who brings home every cough, cold, flu, fever from school, and somehow I do not get sick. I've been taking this stuff regularly for 4 or 5 years, and in that time, I think I've gotten sick twice, maybe 3 times, and even then, it is so mild that I barely notice, and I get over it quickly. So if you're tired of getting knocked out by every little bug, give it a shot. Go to gadenutrition.com and use the promo code CHRIS5 to get 5% discount on all orders. Again, that's gadenutrition.com, promo code CHRIS5, link in the description. And of course, talk to your doctor or whatever. I'm not one of them. I'm just a guy who experiments on himself like a human crash test dummy for health. So another brand that I've been using well before I started this podcast is Nutricost. I found them on Amazon, but now I just order directly off their website. And I have been using this beta-alanine that they have for years and years. And then I use their casein protein for like post-workout recovery. Now, if you've never tried beta-alanine, a lot of pre-workouts have beta-alanine in it, but this is like the pure stuff. And what it is that stuff that gives you like the tingly sensation in your workouts and helps push further. And then the casein protein, I use it for like post-workout or like before bed. It's really good because it digests slowly, helps keep me full, and it fuels my muscles while I sleep. But right now, through the end of April, you actually get 35% off your orders when you use the promo code Relentless. So the link is in the description. Go there and help support the podcast. So when it comes to sports, I actually had some questions submitted. I reached out to people and people submitted some questions. Okay. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat a little bit. Okay. We want to get your takes. So to preface, some of our friends went to Michigan State.
Yep.
Other of our friends went to Michigan. You went to University of Michigan. Mm-hmm. I went to Michigan State. So a lot of Sparties want to know your take on some sports stuff. So, so the first question that was submitted by Anonymous, do you think Bo knew?
Yes.
Yes. And your thoughts on the Bo statue? What do you think about that?
It's never going to come down. It doesn't mean that you have to like it, but great football coach. Unfortunately, there were things that happened. Yeah. But they happen all over the world and all over the country. So
that's fair. Yeah. Another one submitted from Anonymous.
Am I allowed to guess who asked these questions at the end?
Yeah.
We'll wait.
Okay.
Keep going.
How about this one? Dr. Anderson, should they rename the building that is named after him?
Probably.
They should rename it?
They should probably, yeah.
To
I don't know.
Brady Building?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. Last one here. What third world country are you going to send your natty gear to after they vacate that bitch?
Never, never, ever. I don't actually think they're going to vacate it, believe it or not.
Really?
Contrary to what everybody wants, I don't think they're ever going to have to vacate that national title from 2023.
Yeah.
No.
All
So
right.
I'm not worried about it.
All right. Well, good to know.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're standing by your boys.
Yeah.
So do you have any guesses, especially that last one? After they vacate
I
that
do.
bitch, who would verbalize that way?
It's got to be one of the Porter brothers or
Yes.
Max or I
Yes.
don't know.
These questions were submitted by the Porter Bros,
Yes.
Jeff Simpson,
Joey.
and Joey. We got a good one from Joey. Yeah.
All right. I'm glad you guys got your shots in.
Yep. Shout out our buddies. And I swear to God, that's the only like hot seat kind of gag that I'm gonna pull.
That's okay. That's all good.
But I felt like, go ahead.
Minor fines, some scholarship loss, but they're never vacating that title, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, you heard it here first.
I wish I
everybody.
would have wore my ring. So
Yeah.
I bought off of Amazon a like a replica national title ring, and I brought it out during the golf trip, and I used it as like my ball mark, and I was just absolutely obnoxious about it, right?
Yeah.
Just my personality.
Yeah.
But I have this ring that I wear, and I take Snapchats of it whenever Michigan wins, and just to tick those guys off.
Yeah.
honestly.
Trying to do the fist trick.
Okay, yeah. We'll keep it closer.
Cool.
This is my first time ever using. I need one of these for work.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be.
Yeah. I've been
You'll have to-
hitting my job interviews with
Yeah.
this, and people are very.
I'm
impressed.
constantly on like Zoom or Teams and talking, and like having this would be a power move.
Yeah, dude. Get Shure, SHURE. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but
Yeah.
just a plug that my video content creation game stepped up immensely when I hooked these bad boys up. They're not cheap, but they're worth it in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, a couple $100, maybe 300 for
Yeah. No,
each of them.
I'd put it on my work card, but
There you
call it
go.
work expense. Yeah.
Yeah, write it off. There you go. So, in the vein of like being silly, because we've known each other for so long, and we've got a group of like 25 friends who most of us have known each other since we were 5. Bunch we picked up along
Yeah,
the
I'd
way.
say there's like a core of like 7 or 8 of us that have known each other for, like you said, 30 years, 30 plus years.
Yeah. Speaking of that, this was like a gift from God. I don't know if anyone has had this experience, but I plan on like milking this thing for all it's worth. So I've befriended a teacher of ours from like 6th or 7th grade. I don't know if I can reveal. I don't know if I should reveal her name.
I know who you're talking
maybe
about
I'll
because
bleep
you
it.
texted me
Yes.
her name. Where
Yeah.
did you stumble upon or run into her?
So that's the part where I can't really
I
talk
see.
about it. Mrs. I'll
Yeah.
probably bleep that afterwards. But,
Yeah.
but we've become friends, and she looked at me. She goes, "Were you in my class?" And I was actually like, "No, I wasn't in your class,
was
but
it?
I was closely affiliated."
Was that 6th, 7th, or 8th grade?
I think that was 6th. Because
Like,
it was
right in our shithead era.
yes. So that was her first year teaching. She
Yeah,
said
it-
she cried every single day
Oh, God.
because of you.
No.
I swear to God. Like,
No.
She said you were a troublemaker, and
God.
the kids made her cry. And I asked about
It couldn't
you.
have just been me, but shithead era.
Right, exactly. But what I want to know, what I'm gonna like, I might see her today. What I'm gonna milk everything for is like, how often do you get this opportunity to like befriend a teacher and be like, what teachers did you hate?
What colleagues?
Colleagues, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Because when you're a kid, you just assume it's like kids versus teachers. All the teachers get along. All the teachers are pals. But I am guessing that there's some teachers that really butt heads that like
Oh, yeah.
really dislike each other behind the scenes.
I know. I'm actually like through parents or through like my kids' friends, I've started to meet a lot of teachers. Northville High School, just different places around the Metro Detroit area. They're teachers. It's I'm willing to bet that they do butt heads. There's
Yeah, absolutely.
differing of opinions on things, and
Yeah, like Mr. LaPointe was such an.
I ran into him at Home Depot like 4 or 5 months ago.
Is he looking pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then your mom sent that picture over.
Oh yeah, he
What
was
was he
at
doing?
like physical therapy.
Okay.
I think he either was. I don't know if he's a instructor or if he was just there as a patient as well.
Uh huh.
But yeah, that was really random.
Super random.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. LaPointe, if you're local to the Plymouth, Canton, Livonia, Northfield, you know this guy.
He's a legend.
He's a total legend. And we butted heads a little bit. He was a little kind of too serious for my liking, but like looking back, he was a good teacher, I thought.
Oh yeah.
So, but at we had a couple of stories, and I don't want to take up too much time telling stories, but one that I thought was just super funny that popped into my head was the elaborate scheme we pulled off in college.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
I do remember this.
Can I preface by saying allegedly? Because
I think,
allegedly. Yeah, this is alleged. This may or may not have actually happened, but I think even then, statute of limitations.
Yeah, it's been so many years.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to think about what year that actually was. I graduated in 2009, so it's probably in 2009 or 10.
It was in 2009.
2009, yeah.
Because you had just graduated. That was your graduating semester. Yes. You graduated college, but your work wasn't done.
My work was not done. So I think my last semester of college, I took a American music class that was sort of supposed to be just a blow-off class to get some extra credits in sociology or whatever. And I had to write a paper about, I don't know if it didn't have to be about Eminem. It had to be about music, but it ended up being, you take the wheel.
Okay, I'd be happy to take the wheel.
Yeah.
I believe the paper, the requirements were you have to write a paper and make an argument for a genre of music that's not
that's
in
what
the,
it was.
that's not
I'm glad
in the
you
curriculum.
remember.
Yeah, I don't know how I remember that one. I don't remember a lot from these days, but I remember the story. And we got to talking right at the beginning of the semester. You're talking about this music class, and I have an economics class. I believe it was macroeconomics.
It was macroeconomics. It was a 200 level macro class.
Yes, and I didn't want to go to it, but I learned on the first day that you can do none of the homework, not take any of the original assessments, and only do well on the final, and your final is the only thing that counts.
You could still pass the class.
Yes.
I have dreams or nightmares about this scenario where you just don't show up all semester and then you show up to a test and you're like, oh, crap.
Dude, I've had that.
It's weird. I'm 37 and I'm still having those dreams.
It's insane. I don't know what it is about that dream, but I have it. And I've spoken with
you did it.
Numerous people. I actually did do it.
I never did it. I was always the one that the least thing I can do is show up to class. And I would do that. But I still had the dream. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I had to write a paper at the conclusion of the class. It was my final assignment, I think. And I had you give me the framework argument using all of your knowledge of mostly Eminem's work, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe we used some other artists, but it was very Eminem-centric. The piece.
I made the argument that contemporary hip-hop should have been injected into the curriculum. So I wrote, I don't remember how long it was, but I wrote the paper.
You did. And then I Grammarly'd it or ChatGPT'd it. I just edited it and made it all mine.
Yeah.
And I got an A+.
Yes.
I got an A freaking plus on that. My teacher was so impressed with all the arguments that were made, and it was cool.
Yeah. So in exchange for writing that paper, I had you, allegedly, take my final exam for me, with me, at Michigan State. So you graduate, and then 2 days later, your work's not done because you have to still
drive up to East Lansing.
Yeah.
Study, which it was taught almost completely differently. There were some crossover positionings of questions and stuff, but I remember going through all those packets. Yeah. And just getting warmed up. These are the types of questions.
Just getting warmed up.
Some of them were okay, I did this, but some of them I just had to completely reteach myself.
Yeah. That was very impressive. So the night before, to I guess calm the nerves a little bit, we actually went and visited the auditorium in which we were going to be taking the final together. So then we plotted. We go, we're going to go in together, and we're going to sit right next to each other. We're both going to take the final. Then when you finish, you just hand yours to me. I tuck mine in my backpack, and I go turn in the one that you did. And
that was the original plan.
Yes. So we pull an all-nighter. We may have had a performance enhancer.
We did pull an all-nighter.
Yes, pulled an all-nighter. Performance enhancers may or may not. We go up there, and I think if memory serves, we bumped into somebody we knew. Did we not run into Jamie?
We did.
He was also in that class.
I was wearing glasses at the time. This is before I needed glasses.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to look like you.
You were going incognito?
Yeah. And I made eye contact with him, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, we go. Not right now, Jamie.
Yeah.
We
You were with me.
Yeah, we were together.
I remember, yeah.
And so we went, and they had the numbers counted exactly to have every other chair filled. You and I were the very last people to go in, and we threw off the numbers because we had to sit right next to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And they must have been like, something's fishy, or we just miscounted by one because we were right next to each other. And we go. I'm like doodling on my Scantron while you're taking the thing. I go, I turn it in. Well, you finish. I go turn it in, and I just wait. And I wait. And I go, and I'm looking through things in the class, and I realize we took it in the wrong room.
We did.
I was in the wrong section. And so I emailed the professor. I'm like, hey, I think I took it in the wrong room.
Took the right test.
Took the right test.
In the wrong room.
In the wrong
auditorium.
This elaborate scheme.
Shows how close you were paying attention to your class at that time.
I went on the first day and the last day and do one piece of homework or anything. But then I emailed my professor. I go, I was in the wrong section. What's going to happen? I thought I was going to fail the class. I was prepared. And the grade comes through. And I like 2.5 to that class. So with your help, allegedly, thank you for helping me pass macroeconomics.
You're welcome.
It's a great tale. Another story actually took place the week before we went away to college originally.
Okay.
Do you remember when we were like camping in my backyard, me, you, and James, and then we like left and we went around like where that Jet's Pizza was?
Yeah, I do. And you,
yes, my fault,
dummy,
I know,
decided it'd be a good idea to shake the door of one of the property. We were minding our own business. I mean, we were not trying to do anything bad, but you decided to shake the door, and it set off a silent alarm.
Yeah.
Not even like a real alarm, a silent alarm for the company. Oh, God. Next thing you know, I'm getting tossed to the ground, my hands behind my back. I have nothing on me.
By a female cop.
By a female.
You got tossed.
She throws me on the ground. I get handcuffed. God.
And then James is also cuffed. They're questioning him, and he's just holding firm. He's demanding to speak with his attorney. He's like an 18-year-old kid. He's like, no, I want to talk to my attorney.
How old were we then? Yeah, 16 or 17?
Yeah, we were probably 17. He might have been 18. And then I actually got put into the squad car and immediately farted. And then there was like a silence. Nobody laughed, but I farted in this cop car. And
we were in different cars because multiple police officers showed up, and they separated us, if I remember correctly, because they want to make sure all of our stories corroborated.
Yep. You and James are like refusing. I'm spilling the beans. I'm telling them exactly what happened because it was my fault. I would have gone down for the group, but I fart, and the guy just like looks in his rearview mirror at me, and he goes, "Son, did you just shit yourself?" I go,
God.
I go, "No, sir, I just farted."
I just remember the look on Bob's face when the police officer has us three at your front porch and knocks on the door. This has got to be at like 2 a.m, 3 a.m. The look on his face, he had to wake up.
Yeah. And that cop was not generous. He didn't like knock like.
No, the cop was, he was loud.
He was super loud.
I remember one time even before. Let's get all the incriminating stuff out of the way. I was getting
it's all alleged.
Ready, all alleged. You were gonna take me on spring break. I was gonna go on spring break with your family. I was like your tag along. You remember this? And then something happened.
Were we going to Florida?
I was gonna go to Florida with you, and then I remember being told, nope, you can't go to Florida with Chris, and being just devastated because it might have been
interesting.
I don't remember why we got in trouble, but
well, it probably had to do with pot.
It did.
Pot got us in trouble, and now it's like legal and nobody cares.
Right.
Which is kind of unfair. I got like a year probation for the smallest amount of pot, and now nobody.
Now you can go into a store and buy it.
It's wild.
Like
it is wild.
It's crazy.
I know. And apparently I haven't partaken in a while, but apparently they've been working on this shit like it's the cure for cancer, and it just can do all sorts of miraculous things, and it's gotten stronger if you want it. It can like target like, oh, you got muscle soreness? Take this pot. Right. You got your brain's overactive? Take this. You need to sleep? Take this. You need to wake up? Take this. So
I know.
I'm It's okay.
Getting all the incriminating stuff out of the way early. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. You want to dive into your challenge?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's dive into your challenge. So what we do here is we do 40-day health challenges. I reach out to people, ask if they want to come on and do something. And you were...
I was reluctant to even come on this podcast.
I know. And most people are.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for agreeing to come on, because it helps me out. And it helps the viewer out too, because they get to learn a little something right along with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what is your 40-day challenge, Dan?
So I want to just commit to investing an hour into physical activity, health, exercise in some way, shape, or form for 40 days straight.
Cool.
I've dabbled with it. Like I just told you, we just went to Florida. So Lindsay and I kind of were like, hey, let's get in shape for it. So it's like it happens. And then like a week before, it's like, it is what it is. It's just me and you. Like, strangers are going to see us. Who cares at the pool or at the beach? Like, who cares? But doing that a couple of times now, each time you gear up to go on a trip like that, it's like, man, if I could just be more consistent with this, it'll become sort of part of my routine. And I want to have it become part of my routine. And I have time to do it from home. So I don't need to go to a gym. I've showed you my stuff that I've got in my basement, and I've got the means by which to do this. It's just being committed to the bit and like actually doing it. And so I'm using this as an opportunity to be like, hey, let's do 40 days in a row. It might not be 40 days in a row of like strength training, or I'm going to mix it up. And part of this was like, I want to expand my horizons too. I was like, hey, if I come on your podcast, give me some new workout or ideas so I'm not stuck doing the same mundane exercises.
Yeah. So
my commitment is actually 60 minutes a day of physical exercise. This could mean everything from lifting weights, doing the routine that I shared with you, my own like personal routine, maybe a P90X that you give me. It could mean going for a 30-minute walk and then doing 30 minutes of yoga. That could be the extent of it in a day, but an hour a day invested into my physical well-being.
Cool.
Stretching. I like yoga. Like yoga is like, I think one of the most beneficial things when you get into like your late 30s and 40s in terms of like mobility, balance, strength. So I really like that. So I'll incorporate a lot of that. I've gotten away from jogging just because I have like a little bit of a nagging like hip issue going on that I think started because of running. I'm not sure yet. I'm seeing my college roommate, Sean. Remember Sean Atchman?
I do, yeah.
He's like a pain medicine and rehab doctor. So it's great. I can just pick up the phone and text him and be like, hey, I'm dealing with this. He'll give me some sort of stretch. He actually finally referred me to a physical therapist.
Okay.
So I am going to be starting physical therapy while I go through these 40 days. He was like, it's mild pain. Like, I want you to exercise as tolerated, basically. He's a very big proponent of like, just because you have a little discomfort doesn't mean like stop, just rest for 14 or 21 days straight.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that because I'm going to be mindful of like, if I'm in pain, I'm going to probably do more of like just walking, yoga, etc. So at least 60 minutes. I'm going to log it too. So I'll say, hey, here's the things I did. I like to mix it. So if like one day I do a jog and then say like a 30-minute full body or upper body workout on like the Peloton app, for example. That'll be a day. I'll do a bike. We have a Peloton bike now, so I really like that. You know I like my biking.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you wear a helmet inside too?
No. God, I actually haven't been not riding my bike as much because I like the Peloton so much because I can be on my phone and like listen to a podcast, the Relentless podcast. I actually have listened to your podcast while I'm on that bike.
Oh, cool.
And watch it too. Like I use YouTube to watch it.
Yeah.
But I can't do that if I'm riding the streets around like, because cars and other people and such. So I've actually kind of gravitated. It's now that it's the winter, I've been just solely doing the Peloton bike. But I'll do like 30 minutes of like a just ride and try to like crank my, calories to like, 400 to 500 calories in that half hour type of thing.
Cool.
So anyway, long-winded way of saying I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to do some of what you give me. I'm going to do some of the stuff I like to do, but I'm going to commit to 60 minutes a day for 40 days straight starting tomorrow.
Sweet. All right. And then we'll have you back on in the usual 40-ish days. Thank you for listening to the podcast. One thing that I never want people to like feel like they're doing is by listening, they're like doing me a favor. Like I don't want people to feel like they like are obligated to listen.
No,
like,
I
listen if
I
you
listen.
like it.
I'm honestly genuinely interested in like
thanks, man.
just the entire thing around like how you're going to eventually monetize this, and
it's
like having this be your hobby. I think it's so cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I've always loved pursuing something creative. It's taken a bunch of different forms, but I think I found a little rhythm in this. But back to you. Couple of things. So yes, I will give you some stuff to switch it up.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite like workout program of all time is P90X3, and those are good. Those are 30-minute workouts, and he's really big on like speed.
Who's
range
he?
of motion. Oh, Tony Horton.
Okay.
Tony Horton.
I've heard you say his name before.
Yeah, he does the P90X series and a bunch of other ones. But so I'll give you some of those. Some of them there's like a conditioning workout where you just grab like a small like 5-pound dumbbell and you're doing a bunch of like kind of range of motion and calorie burning, heart pumping moves. And then there's one that I'm really curious for you to try, and maybe we can do a little like friendly competition on this. There's a workout called the challenge, and what the challenge is you have a pull-up bar, right?
Yep.
It's all push-ups and pull-ups. Jeez. And you superset. It's like 8 sets of pull-ups, 8 sets of push-ups, but you change the type of pull-ups and push-ups you're doing. So
by just alternating your hands, or
right. So it starts with like a wide pull-up.
Yeah.
So those are the toughest for me. Like it's pure lat.
I can barely do 5 pull-ups. I can easily knock out 50 push-ups.
Yeah.
I can barely do 5 pull-ups.
Yeah. So it's a good mixture. So I would say put that at a part in your like a place in your week where it's like 3 days away from any chest or back workout that you do, because it's pure chest, pure back, and then there's a bunch of other stuff I'll throw you as well.
Yeah.
And then one idea I had when it comes to yoga, one workout that I found on the Beachbody app is called Yin Yoga, and what it is you get into like a yoga pose and then you hold it for like 2 minutes. Yep. So I do it before bed every night, and 0 aches and pains. Like it just stretches you out, releases a bunch of the built up energy from the day, and I'll get you that one.
Yeah,
it's like
I've done a yin yoga before.
Oh, cool, perfect.
Not at night, not necessarily at night, but I've done them.
Oh, sweet.
Not knowingly, but
that's awesome. Yeah, it helps. It helps in a lot of ways. But I got you on that. And then one question I had, when it comes to like weight training, when would you say you first started getting into lifting weights?
Man. My college roommates, remember Tommy Dagnew? Yeah. I remember going to the gym with him like pretty regularly. Probably fell off a little bit right after college. And then probably just like maybe like 5, 6, 7 years. Steph has actually gave me like all this weight stuff. I have a bench press. I have, this whole system pull down. So probably like 2018, 2019, we started kind of getting back into it. Cool. Lindsay and I think I remember looking at a picture of Lindsay and I from like we got married in 2015.
Okay.
So like 2016, 17, like we just got like a little bigger, I'd say. Like I was pushing 2 bills at one point. And I think we just made the conscious decision to like start doing a little bit of workout. And then, 2020 happens and you're kind of stuck at home, and a lot of it was like not much else to do. So that happened. And then now it's kind of ingrained, and again, maybe like 2 or 3 times a week I'll do something, but now that I start this challenge, I'm going to see what every day does for me, just to build that consistency and have more energy. There's all kinds of benefits, right? More energy to keep up with the kids. The kids are getting bigger, where I need to be able to like step in and like pick them up over my shoulder and go put them back in their room.
Right.
Like,
I'm sure they love that.
Respect, not getting sick as often. Like the more you exercise, the less prone you are to falling victim to some of the, God, Mason just on Monday or Tuesday wakes up. He's like, oh, my stomach hurts. Well, okay. 15 minutes later, he's throwing up. It's like the norovirus had hit our house. So it's just to keep my immune system up too, like doing a lot of the cardio, sweating out toxins. That's really my motivation for agreeing to do this.
Yeah, for sure. I had a giant list of stuff written down as I was diving into this, because I sometimes wonder that myself. Like, what was my intention on first, like lifting weights? Like I was always like played sports and stuff. Like in terms of like lifting weights, it was like, well, twofold. One, I was like recovering from a breakup. It was when Carolyn broke up with me, and all of our buddies went to the gym regularly. Right. So I just tagged along because I needed something to do, and I felt like I needed a boost, and like so part of it was to get out of that kind of depressing rut. And then the other one is pure vanity. Like I just wanted to look good. I was always like spindly skinny, and I'm still very thin, but like I was always so skinny that like I'm like, I wonder what I can do like if I start lifting weights. So but now it's like I've gotten so used to like the cognitive benefits that like I go a day or two and I'm so off that like I do it more so for brain and just emotions.
You're a morning workout guy.
Oh yeah.
I am too. So I will mostly, like, sometimes I will get up before the kids, Lindsay, and do some type of workout. But typically it's kids get dropped off for school. I start my day doing something. If it's a day that I'm going to work out, I like to do it in the morning. But now that I'm committing to the 40 days in a row, it might mean some evenings. It might mean some middle of the day type of stuff too. I'll probably do 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes later in the day type of thing.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool. Like, I'm cool. Well, I am cool. But I am interested in a couple of things. Will you tracking things?
Yep.
And we'll see like in terms of like weights, like if anything grows, if anything expands. And then so I got like an in-body scale here, which we had you step on.
Yep.
So when you come back, we'll have you do it again. And it would just be cool to see like some sort of movement in terms of like, I don't know if we're looking at any like weight loss. I don't think that's your goal, but like if we can drop that body fat percentage down, like a point.
I'm not trying to cultivate mass necessarily.
Yeah.
Like bulk up. I want to like lean. I want to get leaner.
Yeah.
You know, like lose a little bit of weight. Not a lot, but it's more about feeling good, having more energy, preventing sickness. Being able, I know your buddy Chris, like golf is important to me. Like the mobility, the stretching. Like I want to be able to hit the golf ball far. It's kind of a silly little thing, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have an Apple Watch? I see you're wearing an Apple Watch. So I
love my Apple Watch.
Do you log workouts on that thing?
Sometimes. Okay. I don't always. I forget. But I try to.
What I like to do is to keep it as simple as possible. Like if I want to stay in like the same vein of like where I am weight wise, I will log all of my physical activity on this watch. Usually that involves like a 30 to 50 minute weightlifting workout in the morning. And then later in the day, I like to go on walks. Like I like a good 2-mile walk. That is like perfect for me in terms of like steady state cardio. And then I log all that. So it calculates my calories out, like how many calories I'm burning. And then I use the MyFitnessPal app to log all of my food. And at the end of the day, it tells me my calories in. So as long as
you're in a deficit or not. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the easiest way. And then what I just learned my voice just cracked. What I just learned that's pretty cool is the information from your watch that goes to your phone. If you open up the rings, like the
activities app,
fitness app, there's like the red ring, the lime green ring, and the blue ring.
Yep. And
so you open up the fitness app on your phone, you click that, and then you can scroll in the days, and then like I don't know, maybe I could get a screenshot, but I just found it. But like right under where it says move, it says
I got
calories.
All this.
But then right here in the fine print, it gives you the total calories burned through the day. So like the calories burned like just by existing.
Right.
Because what people don't think about is just like sitting all day.
Your normal cardiac, like just sitting here, you're still burning calories.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So as long as that number and my calories in are pretty even, like I am not going to be tacking on a bunch of mass or.
I don't think I can log my calories, but I do like to like pay attention. Like, hey, how many steps do I have?
Yeah.
Have I hit my move goal for the day? Those types of things. Yeah, I got the 3 rings on my watch that you keep track of. So.
3 rings? Yeah.
And I like the walks too, especially now that I haven't been really jogging to the walks. I bought one of the. I think I told you I bought one of those weighted vests, just 10 pounds.
Oh yeah.
And I put it on underneath my sweatshirt and I walk with that to try to like make it. But funny story about that. So the day after I bought it, I hung it on my bench press, like the actual bar on the right hand side of it. No, I'm sorry, Lindsay did. I didn't know that it was there. I'm home alone and I go to do a bench press and I have 10 extra pounds on my right side that I didn't know were there. So I take it off the bar and all of a sudden it starts taking me. I'm home alone. I have my watch on and I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to be pinned. It took me down to the point where it like hit my basement floor and I had them pinned underneath me and I had to like Hulk push this bar up over me and roll off of the bench. I was like, dude, I could have died.
Yeah. How do you wiggle out of that situation?
I pushed it up and I rolled and then I set the weight like on the actual bench or like where you lay. And then I took the weights off.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a scare.
Yeah. That's happened to me. I was really
like,
young. But...
Like, Linda, that insurance policy almost was yours. Like,
Yeah.
She could have claimed like innocence. Like she hung that there. It was totally my fault for not paying attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Vesta has a little like every time I put it on, I'm like, this could have been my last day.
Fucker could have killed me.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? I had a couple of just general exercise bullet points jotted down that I learned and I wanted to share. But was there anything specifically about this 40-day like workout challenge that we haven't chatted about that you were hoping to?
No.
Okay.
It's really just about creating consistency for myself and really making it part of my daily routine.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what this 40 days does, is like it becomes second nature. Like, yes, you do have an hour a day that you can dedicate to yourself. So
Cool. Yeah. It's funny. We were talking a little bit like about before the podcast started, we're talking a little bit about your recent trip to Florida. I took a recent trip to Florida. It just happened to be clear. Like we both went to Clearwater.
Did you actually go to Clearwater Beach?
Yeah. We were there. I was there.
Where'd you stay?
Week before you. So we stayed in St. Pete's.
Oh, okay.
But we went to Clearwater and St. Pete's Beach. The hotel was nothing. I would not recommend the hotel we stayed in. But I didn't get a chance to work out the whole time there, and it totally threw me off. And so like we talked about, I work out now way more so for like the cognitive benefits and to like regulate my mood versus wanting to be like buff and be on a stage with like greased up muscles. So here are the things that I researched a little bit as we were talking about fitness. The first one was an interesting take by Dr. Jordan Peterson, who's a controversial figure, but he's got some good stuff to say. He said, if you're 50, you can restore your cognitive function to the level of a 30-year-old through exercise. So, boom, cognitive benefits. This one I thought was interesting too. The lengthening of life that comes from physical exercise, like weight training and cardiovascular training, is greater than the shortening of life from any negative thing you can think of. So basically, you think of like a negative thing that impacts like longevity. Probably smoking would be the top. So exercising, like weight training and cardio conditioning, exercising is better at lengthening your life,
your health span, so to speak,
than smoking is at lowering it.
Okay.
So do both, and you're like breaking even.
No, I'm part of this too is so that I can eat and drink what I want to do and not be 200 pounds.
Yeah, and chain smoke those cigs, right?
I've never actually. That's one vice that I've never had.
Yeah.
So
I did. I've been 4 or 5 years no smoking though, so not bad.
I have one a year.
Yeah.
It's usually when I'm with Joe.
That's probably so great.
I get like a head buzz. I mean,
yeah, nothing like when you're a smoker, nothing beats that like those first like 3 to 5 drags off a morning cigarette with a coffee.
No, I can't say that's.
But then you're just chasing it throughout the day.
Yeah. See, I have my vices. That is not one of them.
Yeah.
So
it's fantastic. I highly recommend smoking cigarettes. Like anyone that's listening. So the next one, this one was Dr. Eric Berg. This one I thought was interesting too. So he talked about the 9 benefits of exercise, some of which we've touched on, some of which are a little over my head. Prevent the loss of muscle mass, which is super important as you age. The antioxidant reserve, it helps like repair mechanisms in the body. So when we were talking about not getting sick, exercise actually repairs mechanisms in the body that help regulate things. Number 3, it stabilizes blood sugar. Number 4, increases oxygen energy. So it just helps blood flow and circulation, decreases stress, enhances sleep, increases flexibility, strengthens the heart. And finally, one we've talked about, this is number 9, enhance cognition and mood by like literally pushing blood flow and nutrients into the brain.
Yeah.
So thought that was all interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, let's stop talking about health stuff. We got a little bit of time. We got, 20-ish minutes.
Whatever. I'm
22, 30, whatever, however long we go. Let's talk about some other stuff. Did you think of any pet peeves that you wanted to share with us today?
Yeah, in the limited episodes that I've listened, I was like anticipating this question.
Yeah.
I think the obvious one is, being stuck in traffic.
Dude,
just when we were in Florida, it's different down there than here. You come to appreciate like where we live and
totally
the lack of the traffic, but that's a big one when you don't know what it's because of, when there's construction barrels on the road and there's not a worker within miles.
Yeah.
So that's the obvious. We drove down to we wanted to go to a Tigers game, but it was down in Bradenton, so like an hour south of Clearwater.
Okay.
When we were down there, but we wanted to go to the game because it was a Friday night. We didn't want to like miss the middle of the day. Most baseball games in spring training start at 1, but this one started at 6. So we're driving down there, and I am getting visibly frustrated with the traffic. Like an hour drive turned into a 2-hour drive because we did it basically the heart of rush hour is what I learned.
Yeah.
So Lindsay turns to me and she's like, Dan, the boys can sense you're being impatient. Like we're trying to instill this like sense of like patience. And I'm like, I'm swearing. What is going on? The traffic lights are too long. Like I'm just complaining about the traffic.
They are long in Florida.
They are. Yeah.
I found, I want to get back in your story. I felt like, like Ford Road and Telegraph Road here, I feel like that's all roads in Florida.
Yeah.
Like they're all that
8
like
Mile and Haggerty.
Yes. They're all like that 2-lane highway, super congested. But yeah.
The left-hand turn lane's its own like 1 minute light. I don't understand the traffic pattern. So anyway, that's the clear and obvious one. It's not being late. I can deal with people who are late. I can't deal with people's inability to estimate how long something's going to take.
Oh.
Okay, so different. I'm going to be 15 minutes late. That's fine. But set a proper expectation with somebody. Like, don't tell me it's going to take you 5. You see this a lot in a work setting. Maybe a friend, maybe a spouse, where it's like, hey, it's going to take me, hey, give me 5 minutes. I got to go do something real quick. But in the back of their mind, they know there's no way it's going to just take 5 minutes. Yeah. It's like they're trying to overpromise, but then you underdeliver. And I'd rather people reverse that and underpromise and overdeliver. Because when you give me that information of, hey, I'm going to be there in 15 minutes, in my mind, I'm like, okay, here are the things that I can do and incorporate, or I can plan accordingly knowing you're going to be there in 15 minutes. But when you tell me you're going to be there in 15 minutes, when you really know it's going to probably take you a half hour, like that, to me, that's not being respectful of someone else's time, right? So it's not being late. It's being the inability to accurately assess how long you're going to take on something drives me absolutely nuts.
That's a good one. And I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
So that's probably one of my number one pet peeves. Trying to think about what else really irks me. Here's what are things that you do that you're maybe consciously aware that are pet peeves for other people? Because that's one thing that I've, as I thought about this question, like I know there are things that I do that just tick Lindsay off, or when we were growing up, things I would do that would just tick you off. Like, I think it's important for you as a person to like be aware of the things that you're doing that irritate other people, so that you can work on them. Like, I'll give you an example. I am terrible at keeping track of my stuff.
Okay.
Right? Like
you are.
I am, right? You know it.
Yeah.
My parents know it. I have those air tags on all my stuff because I don't know if it's just the way that because I have ADHD or what, like I will put something down and then forget where I put it, or I'll have it in a pocket and I'll take those pants off and I'll put them in the closet and I'll forget. And then the next day I'm asking Lindsay or somebody like, hey, do you know where my keys are? It's like, no, I don't keep track of your keys. Like, it's your responsibility to keep track. That is one thing that I'm 37 now. I guess I still do it. And I have to like work on like owning where I put my stuff.
Yeah. You think maybe busy brain? Like you're
busy
doing
brain,
these actions, but your brain
dad brain has really accelerated this whole, like when I'm
it's gotten worse?
Oh yeah. When I'm solo with the boys and I'm flying around the house, I'm basically like playing butler. Like when you have a 4 and a 7-year-old or a 6 and a 3-year-old, you're really like in your butler servant era, so to speak, for better or worse. Like you're constantly catering to the needs of what they need or want. You're diffusing arguments. So there are days I lose my sunglasses. There was one time I was walking around my backyard. I think I was raking leaves and I found glasses that I must have lost like a year plus ago. They must have just fallen off of my face and I just totally forgot.
Yeah. You talking corrective or?
They were sunglasses. Sorry, these were sunglasses that I found. I have lost my credit cards, my wallet more times than I want to admit. Like, it's just, I'm terrible at keeping track of my stuff. So that was just one example of like twisting the question and like, is there anything that you do that you know ticks Emily off, but you can't really help yourself?
Yes. So that's a fantastic question. And I want to preface this with actually, this is like a long deserved apology to you, because one thing you used to do that I used to like give you a hard time for is like singing around me, because I'm like, you're not a good singer. Stop singing.
And I don't know the lyrics.
And you don't know the lyrics.
And
That's
I just
fine.
make up my own lyrics.
But yeah.
I still do that.
Yeah. I have come to accept the fact that I am also a really bad singer.
Okay.
So I will sing a song or rap a song just because I like doing it. Like, and Emily, it sometimes displeases Emily.
Like you two would be driving in the car, a song comes on, you're singing it, and she's like, let's just enjoy the song.
Yeah, like I'll be like, like an Eminem song will pop in my head, and I'll be like, let me explain just how to make greatness straight out the gate. I'm about to break you down, make no mistake, allowed to make no, about to rape the alphabet. And she'll be like, no. I'm like, this sounds fucking great. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that's like, that's fresh. I think like just this morning I was doing that, and she was like, no. What's another thing I do that ticks people off? I don't know. I that's a big one. The singing and rapping around Emily is big.
But yeah, my big ones would be just the traffic, and then people not being respectful of your time.
Yeah, I got one, and this one is like off the cuff, because I hope I can pull up an example. Just as a general pet peeve, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, and if you use LinkedIn to find a job or post updates about your job, whatever, but it's specifically like the people. So here's how I think of it. On all social medias, everybody's fake to some degree, because we want to portray like our best selves.
Especially on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's why LinkedIn bugs me too.
That's what I mean. It's like on Facebook, Instagram, like Twitter, like you're posting the best of. But I feel like LinkedIn takes it to a whole new level, because not only are you presenting a fake version of yourself, but it's like the business fake version of yourself.
You're trying to, a lot of people are trying to justify their value to their company when they're posting, and so they're being fake by design.
Yes. And then you got the people that are like seemingly purposefully trying to go viral on LinkedIn. Like, if your goal is to go viral on LinkedIn, you're a fucking loser. And I don't think I could ever hang out with you.
I enjoy the memes. You mostly see them on like Twitter or Instagram that troll people who post on LinkedIn. That's like, hey, here's what happened to me. Here's what it taught me about B2B sales. It's these big, long.
Yeah.
Some of them are just so ridiculous.
Yeah. Recruiters, you need to start following up with your clients. If you're not doing that, then you need to go back to the basics. Here, I'm Desmond. I'm a recruiter, and I follow up with all my potential candidates. And it's like, oh God, Desmond.
You're making me think about. So I'm in sales.
Yeah.
I am constantly being lied to. Right. Like I think it's like innate. Like I'm selling to a certain persona or person that probably wants to learn more about what we do, but they're maybe not ready to like buy, or they don't have the power or the budget or whatever to buy, but they want to act interested. Because they want to see what's out there. But people just constantly lie to you, and it's like totally okay. Like my job is to like sift through the bullshit and figure out like who's actually serious about doing something with us. But yeah, it's like now that I've been doing sales for almost 15 years across a couple of different companies, I'm just almost numb to this idea that like I'm very distrustful of people in general.
Yeah.
Because I'm constantly being lied to.
Yeah.
Or told, no, go away. It's either one, like, no, go away, or you're like, hey, follow up with me in a couple weeks and we can meet then. And then there's another excuse. Like there are people, I have these people that I'm constantly chasing down. And then I get to the point where I'm like, this person's literally just stringing me along. Like every couple of weeks, it's just a new excuse. This guy's lying to me. He's not going to buy from me. Go spend your time elsewhere. Like that's the constant battle that I'm always dealing with at work is trying to sift through like who's a bullshitter and who actually wants to buy. Right. So
In sales, have you ever had to do the exercise, the sell me this pen? Is that a real thing?
No. I feel like that's an interview question, which
Yeah.
I actually haven't done an interview in ever. And since I started my job, I went from my first job out of college to this current job through like I followed my boss essentially.
Oh, cool.
So I didn't have to interview. I didn't have to interview, and I haven't had to interview since. So when we were talking on the phone the other day, you were like asking me about interview. I'm like, I don't know if I'm the best person to like give you this advice, but here's what I would do if I were in your shoes.
Yeah.
Which I still think the advice was valid.
Yeah, I probably understated my current level of trust and relationship with my current boss because the question was like, I'm probably gonna have 2 offers on my hands next week. Should I tell my boss or should I not tell my boss? And part of me, maybe it's like the more human side and I just have lack of business sense, but like part of me, like anytime we would talk about future plans, future state, like part of me felt a little scummy, like not telling him that like, I might not be part of this future plan he has. And we're close enough to where, the other day I pulled him aside. I'm like, really good chance I'm sticking around.
Yeah.
But if I got this other offer coming next week, if it's X amount higher for my family, and then he was just like, yeah, if I got an offer better than where I'm at, I would do the same. Like, thank you for telling me whatever then it didn't have to be.
A lot of times you'll find the person in his shoes would do the exact same thing you're doing.
Right. Yeah. Because it's all about what's best for you. And
you got to look
family.
out for yourself. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. If I don't go to work tomorrow, I'm just a spoke on the wheel. The company keeps going. So one other thing, and we can wrap with this, but one other thing we like to talk on this channel is recommendations.
Okay.
So I like to phrase it this way. Is there anything that you do in your life that you think that if everybody else in the world did that same thing, the world would be a better place?
Man, it goes back to, I think, my pet peeve, which is like making a conscious effort to be on time and or set proper expectations. Like, hey, we live in an era where you can punch something into your phone and it tells you when you're going to get there.
Yes.
And like giving people heads ups, like, hey, I'm going to be there in about 15 minutes, or like it's going to be, I think that little extra communication like prepares people and makes everything run a little bit smoother.
It prevents the bottleneck and it just runs smoother. It's more efficient. I agree.
There are certain things just in everyday life where it's like I'll look at somebody and I'll be like, you've never taken an economics class in your entire life, and it shows. Like just basic concepts that are very pervasive in everyday life that you wouldn't necessarily think of, like time value of money, consumer surplus, comparative advantage. These concepts they're very basic, but like you can just tell people don't have any inkling of like what it means, like some of this stuff means. Yeah.
So take an economics class.
No, honestly,
and don't have your friends
it should be
take the final.
That personal finance should all be taught in high school, in my opinion, instead of some of the BS that gets taught. Yeah. In fact, I actually know a teacher at Northville High School who teaches like a business economics class. So it's happening. Mm-hmm. It's good.
Good.
So that would be one thing, not to sound stuck up or anything, but people lack basic knowledge.
This is what it's all about here. We talk down to people. We call people out on their bullshit and, whatever. We get vulnerable. And you know what? I wanted one thing I told you that might come up. I think we save it for the next one. But I want it because I wasn't living in Michigan when the incident with your eye happened.
Right.
And
we were going to do this interview with glasses or sunglasses on because I have a prosthetic right eye.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, this camera right here. Probably people who don't know me probably wouldn't be able to tell until we talked, or if I just said it, but
yeah, exactly. And I don't know what it's going to look like on camera. It's probably not.
That was in 2013. June. Lindsay was actually just on the phone with somebody the other day telling this story because someone had suffered an injury via her work, and she was talking about the process of bringing me to the hospital that day. Which some of this is all kind of blurry because the minute that ball hits head, it's all a huge blur.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. Yeah. If we're getting into it, what were you doing when you?
We were playing softball. I believe it was in Canton. Okay. At that diamond off of Ford Road there, just to the west.
Okay.
And I was playing shortstop, and the ball gets hit to right field as a single. Uh-huh. And the guy who hit the ball was rounding first and basically trying to stretch a single into a double. And my buddy was playing right field, notices that he's trying to stretch it out and just guns it from right field. And I'm playing shortstop, so I'm covering second base. And I try to catch the ball and swipe tag this guy real quick, and I miss the ball. It nicks my glove, missed the ball, and I'm wearing like plastic, like, you know, not kid glasses, but like just like non-protective eyewear. And the ball shattered the glasses, shattered my eyeball, popped like a grape, essentially, is what I learned. Knocked me out unconscious. Obviously, I'm bleeding. Lindsay was actually at the game, thankfully. She was at the game.
Who's your wife?
My wife.
For anyone who doesn't know.
She was at the game. She was telling the story to somebody, which gave me like this, like, I was kind of feeling gross about like she was telling me about how I declined an ambulance and she drove me to the hospital. And when we got into the parking lot, I was like throwing up. But they rushed me in. All of this is like, I basically like blacked out. Like I think probably suffered a concussion too.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I remember waking up the next day, them doing some testing on my eye and me not being able to see anything out of the right eye, and like this like sinking feeling, deciding what we were going to do. I think like a couple of days later, they actually removed my eyeball. They put a ball in there, like a marble, basically like an oversized marble is inside of my socket right now. And then the glass acrylic, which this is a whole nother story. The original eye that went over, they paint it very like, you know, good or whatever. So I've really tried. So that was June 9th of 2013. So over 10 years ago. I almost made this big like sappy post it would have been 2023 about like 10-year anniversary. Like I really don't want it to like define who I am. And I've been able to do everything in life that I've wanted to do. There are 3 things that I can't do. I can't fly an airplane or like any type of aircraft. So if we're ever on a deserted island and we need someone to operate I'm not allowed to.
I'll take it. I can learn.
I can't see movies in 3D. So those glasses in 3D. So I can't do that, which whatever. And then I'm not allowed to pursue a career path of being like a brain neurosurgeon or like heart surgeon because of, I guess, the preciseness of. So there are some things like not having depth perception that my brain, I think, has adjusted over time. Being extra mindful when I'm driving of like turning my head to the right. There are times where like, because I don't have a right eye, I will bump into somebody and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I literally did not see you. Like I'll turn really quick to my right and I'll hit some like random, like we were at the airport the other day. We were stuck at the airport and I ran into a dude and I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. You know, I'm frantically like scrambling with my kids and such. So stuff like that kind of sucks. When I wake up in the mornings, I have this like, it's almost like a layer of like thin cement over my eye because of like dried mucus in your eye. So I have to like, there's a process in the morning of like flushing it out, which kind of sucks.
Do you sleep with the prosthetic in or no?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I sleep with it in. You're supposed to take it out once a month. Maybe on the next podcast, I'll put sunglasses on and I will take it out. So there's a little cliffhanger.
Okay. Yeah.
If you watch my follow-up, I will take this thing out and show it to you.
Hell yeah. That's a way better idea.
So... but yeah, you know, been able to golf, do all the things that I really want to do, despite having like, you know, I have to wear these glasses. Like the one thing that does suck is I think my eyesight will deteriorate faster than the average human being just because I have 50% capacity. But you know, I go see an eye doctor almost like every 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Get it tested. Really keep up on my prescriptions and such. So I don't wear contacts. So I do. There's times where I'm like, I'm trying to watch TV or I'm trying to read something. I'm like, I don't have glasses. So I have multiple, again, going back to, I can't keep track of my shit. Having, multiple pairs of glasses around the house, like one at my desk, one upstairs, one in my bedroom. So I can just throw it on and watch TV real quick. Cause I really can't see that well without them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned, you don't want to let it define you. I'll be honest. Like this isn't just, you know, whatever. But when you pop into my head, I think Dan Gill, whatever, not having an eye doesn't even register. Like it's not even a thing that I'm like, oh, that guy with, it never registers. And I got to be careful giving you too many compliments because, you know, your head gets big. And, you know, whatever.
The shopping cart story, by the way, that you and Chris were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's not necessarily me, but ever since I've listened to that, I'm like, I saw a shopping cart like just stranded the other day, and I grabbed it and brought it in.
Okay, there we go.
So like I'm already
you're the shopping cart.
I'm like trying to become what you made me out to be, which I'm not necessarily that guy.
Yeah, for sure. One thing, not only do you like still play golf and sports and stuff, didn't you nail a hole in one with?
I did. That was in 2018, so 5 years later.
Yep.
I haven't been close since.
Yeah.
It was probably I'm a lot better now, but it was a lot of luck.
Yeah.
I have the $2.99 bowling game.
Yep.
I don't have a 300, but I have the $2.99.
One day.
One day.
That's
No, I don't
one.
know.
That's another one. Because both your brothers are really good bowlers.
Yeah.
And so the running joke is who's going to get the 300 first.
Matt will.
I think it's going to be Matt.
Yeah.
But Joe's got a couple 299s, doesn't he?
I don't know about 299s. He might have a 279.
Okay.
I'll see him tomorrow. I'm gonna see both of them tomorrow. So
yeah.
I'll
Speaking
mention.
of, you know who's on my radar to get on this podcast, and I'm gonna speak it into existence now. Your cousin Keith.
Okay, cool.
I would love to.
I'm hoping by me coming on here and conquering my fear. I don't think it's even a fear because I'm on camera for work all the time.
Yeah.
With my eye and such. I'm hoping that more of the guys will be like, yeah, I can go talk to Chris for an hour and.
Yeah, it'd be sweet. I think the hardest part, like when you got kids, it's hard to find the time in your week.
Yeah.
Regardless, but yeah, especially for like a silly thing like this. But I appreciate it. I got nothing else. Was there anything else that you wanted to chat about and open up? I mean, if we opened up all the stories, we'd be here till
I know
Wednesday.
And I think we've told like the most incriminating ones. It's funny. Like Chris is actually like, you know, you have the password questions like, who was your best friend growing up? Chris is always my answer. Even though I have multiple Chris's in my life at this point that are friends.
Yeah.
You've been somebody that I've known for like literally since I remember being in, was it Miss Muncie? Who was our kindergarten?
Mrs. Muncie was
Tanger. Yeah, and then first grade.
Greenwood.
Hill. Burns.
You had Burns. I had Lay. They
separated us on purpose.
You got everybody. I got Sean Stowell and Josh
and
Franks,
then who was
which they're cool
who
guys.
was fifth grade? Addis.
My mom, Petite. My mom had to call because they wanted to put me in like copies class.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to put me in copies class, which was another split class. And my mom called, said no way, he wants to be with his friends. So shout out mom for keeping us, you know.
And then
same middle
Central.
school. Central
so
middle
we
school.
had obviously a lot of work with Central. Mm-hmm. And then obviously high school we went our separate ways.
Yeah, but stayed close. That's why people ask me like, who did you hang out with in high school?
Right.
I'm like, well, I had a core group of friends in high school, but like my best buds that I hung out with on weekends all went to Catholic Central.
I still vividly remember being like waiting for the blue Isuzu to pull into my driveway so we could go to Best Buy and then go to Wendy's. Like Harold and Kumar go to Best Buy.
Every week, every weekend, that was what we did.
You'd have it roll. We go to the Lake Point Church, Bible Church.
Yeah, well, speaking of losing stuff, I remember one time we had this in our mind where we were going to smoke. Allegedly, we were going to smoke like 23 joints the next day. And
we were fishing. We were at Wilcox Lake.
Yes.
I remember that.
And I had the papers at my parents' house, and I lost them.
Oh, yeah.
And we were searching my parents' house. They were upstairs sleeping. We had to like quietly creep around. It's a tri-level, so it's like, you know, they're like one level up, but it's like low ceilings and whatever. And so like we searched the house for like an hour, and I'm like, I lost the papers. My parents are going to find them. I can't roll these 23 joints. We're so screwed. And then I like sit down, and they had been in like the elastic of my gym shorts the entire time.
Yeah. We were up in Caseville. A couple more stories for you.
Yeah,
you decide whatever you keep in here. I'm good till like 9:45.
Okay, cool. I got 10, and then I got a pee, and then I want to
hit
that
okay. Cool. We'll cut it in 10 minutes.
Cool.
We were in Caseville once, and all of a sudden, we were at the beach. I remember being at the beach with all the guys. I think Lindsay was with us. I had lost my keys. Okay. I don't know if you were there this time. To the point where we were in the water, looking in like knee-deep water of Lake Huron for my keys, right? We couldn't find them anywhere. I'm like, they fell out of my bathing suit pocket. Well, there was like a, you know how you have that lining in your bathing suit?
Yeah.
They had, instead of putting them in my pocket, I had put them in like the line. They somehow got into the lining of my bathing suit and literally slipped down like into like my banus, essentially.
Okay.
That's where it was.
They've just been sitting there the whole time.
So all of a sudden I feel it and I go, guys, I found my keys. I ripped them out. I go, they were up my butt and around the corner. I screamed it. I remember that vividly still today, that telling that story of like the sinking feeling of you losing something important like that. And
yeah, that might have been the same trip where... Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that might have been the same trip I was not at, but there were arrests that happened.
Yes.
Max's parents were in a tizzy the
I
next
think,
morning.
we ended up going to the campground because we got kicked out of
And then Bobby woke up not realizing that they were around, and he just shakes it off and he goes, oh, last night was bad axe.
Yeah.
And then there was
It's dead silence.
yeah, that was
that was not good.
I still tell that story to
So
this
here's
day.
another good losing something. There are I remember saying this to Lindsay the other day. There are still good people in the world. So going back to that Detroit Tigers spring training game we went to last week. So we drive down to Bradenton, which by the way took 2 hours to get there, 1 hour to get back. Okay. We drive back to Clearwater. We get back to the hotel and I realize I don't have my wallet. Okay, I'm at the game with my boys and Lindsay. And when we had gotten up the last time, and I know I lost it very late in the process because I had just purchased something from the concession stand like 5 minutes before we left. The kids wanted like popcorn or something for the road.
Of course.
So my wallet fell out of my pocket at my seat. And I had AirTags in my wallet that's sitting on your counter in the kitchen right now.
Nice.
Okay. So we get back to Clearwater, and my AirTag says it's inside of the stadium, the baseball stadium still.
Oh, my God.
So I'm like, it has my ID. I'm supposed to get on a plane the next day. Thankfully, Lindsay packed my passport, which, by the way, if you travel, just pack your passport.
Pack it.
Have it in addition to your ID because it will save you.
Okay.
But
Especially
I had all my credit cards. It had my ID, a couple other cards that are important to life. But I had my AirTag showing me it was there. So I call the stadium. I get a hold of like some very nice lady. She's like, yeah, we'll get in touch with the grounds crew and we'll try to find it. A guy that's actually at the stadium after the game had ended and everybody cleared out calls me and he's like, hey, where were you sitting? I describe my seats. I give him my ticket info. And he goes, no, couldn't find it. I'm like, fuck, it's gone. Like my mind goes to like, maybe I dropped it on the walk back and some dude in Florida is going to have all my information. So I freeze all my credit cards. We're getting ready to like leave Florida. I'm like, God damn, I lost my wallet. Like I got to replace all this stuff. It's just a big pain in the ass. I get a call the next morning. There was a game the next day and a guest had found it. Like another fan had found it and turned it in.
Nice.
And the people at the Pittsburgh Pirates Stadium mailed it back to my house and I got it back yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. So like
Interesting.
I was texting with this woman who was helping me. I was like, I'm a huge Tigers fan, but I am now a Pirates fan.
Yeah.
Like, thank you so much for like just shipping it to my house. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Like,
was there any cash in it? Like, did you?
no
Okay,
cash. No,
cool.
no. My cash was in my pocket.
Yeah. Who carries cash anymore?
Right. No, I do.
Little bit.
But yeah, it had all my other stuff. But I was like, yeah, that is a good example of like I lose something. But there are good people in this world. So someone could have easily just been like, oh, I got this credit card. It's like we'll try to use them at some point. So
Yeah. Thought that popped into my head out of that whole story. One thing that popped into my head when you talked about like maybe you lost it on the walk and somebody might have grabbed it.
Your mind always goes to the worst places.
Well, first thing that popped in my head was just like maybe a homeless person. But one observation I made when I was there, Florida, you'd think would be like littered with homeless because nice weather and whatever. Not many homeless.
Well, I'm sure if you go to downtown Tampa, Orlando, Miami, you do see some of that. But yeah, in some of these touristy towns,
Yeah.
nah,
Not
you don't
that
see.
bad.
No,
They do a good job.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Fist
for
bump.
sure, dude.
And we'll see you back in about 40 days.
Yeah, I think it falls on like May 2nd or something. Like I said, I'm going on that golf trip, so I'm gonna have to figure out how I squeeze in.
Yeah. I mean, if it's the week after, a day before, like
Cool.
sometimes Fridays I can make myself available too.
Yeah,
So.
we'll have more stories.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man.
brother.
Sounds good.
Sweet.